Hey there, Internet. I'm Annie.
I'm Kit.
And I'm Mac.
And this is the JEM Jam, where we do an episode-by-episode recap of the 1980s cartoon JEM and the Holograms, as well as the comic, because they are both truly outrageous. And they also have food fights, which is pretty great. This episode, we are doing the comic issue 5, Showtime Part 5 of 6, which is our first story arc, so things are coming to a head here as we conclude them in the next issue.
On the previously page, we start with the adorable Kimber Stormer kiss, which I feel is the most important thing to establish from that last issue. We've got Rio not liking JEM, we've got Pizzazz screaming, and we've got, oh right, Clash snipped a line at a benefit concert, and now there's a bunch of lighting equipment about to fall on JEM.
Memento Mori by our comic book.
That's how we knew this is a JEM comic.
I'd like to point out that on the next page on the guest list that just lists all of our main players so far, everyone else is just sort of like 3/4 angled, eyeing the camera and smiling a little, except Pizzazz. Pizzazz is just screaming, and everything is right with the world.
Let's be honest, we're going to most often see her face in that configuration, so that might as well be her introductory picture.
I really like the composition of just like the first shot here in the first panel. Just Rio looking terrified, and also there's Gasp guy in the back. And then we just drift over through the other people, and I love it.
This guy is actually leaning into the panel with his hands in his hair, yelling, "Gasp!" It's not even like, there's not even like the things around it that indicate it's a sound effect. It's just him saying the word gasp.
Gasp!
I also love, like, the composition of the first page in general. Like, we've got this sort of splashy ink thing going down as we descend from the first panel down to the third, because this is only 3 panels. I love that all the strats and everything that's about to fall on JEM are just, like, jagged and scratchy and black.
And also, Aja's awesome.
As per the cartoon, Aja's the one who gets stuff done. And in this case, it is saving her hologram sister.
Unfortunately, Aja is not as awesome to get herself out of the way of the falling light equipment, and she gets crushed underneath all of that stuff. Which is odd. I mean, we've actually got, like, danger following through with consequence, which is not how the cartoon works.
I also didn't notice before now that Aja was wearing earrings that are just giant letter A's.
It's actually a little bit jarring to see her very dramatically lying in a pile of rubble and there's a giant letter A on her face.
Yeah, it's
Rio, of course, has jumped up to the stage to actually try and help, because that's what he is in this comic. He is actually helpful.
Yeah, and he's actually useful and actually has a personality. It's great.
We get to see immediately how all of our characters react to danger. Rio is probably taking Aja's place as the capable one. Shayna is trying to keep everybody calm. Kimber is...
It's just freaking out.
Yeah, completely. And Jim is just sort of shocked.
But Aja's fine. She's conscious. And Kimber's still freaking out. Kimber's doing that thing where she talks all in one word.
And it's one of my favorite parts of the comic. Rio actually does the smart thing of saying, don't move her.
Yeah, because there might be a head issue or a neck issue. We're just going to try to lift the rigging off her without moving her.
When he says someone called 911, just stay still, we actually see in the right side of the panel 2 different women on their phones calling 911, which is a nice sort of continuity thing.
And I also like that in the background we can see the other girls arguing, which we then shift into.
Yeah, Clash and Blaze are arguing. We don't hear what they're saying, but we do see that they're yelling at each other, and I bet we know why. Rio asks where Jerrica is. JEM says, oh, I'll go find her, scampers off, and does a magical girl transformation back into Jerrica.
I really love the style of this magical girl transformation, though. It's got those same, like, sort of ribbon effects, like Synergy's hair.
It's got her twirling around. It's great.
It's also just got these great sort of blue lines popping up as sort of, like, hologram shifting stuff. Like, even just the color right here in the complete shift from, like, the gigantic purples and pinks of JEM to the sort of more muted colors of Jerrica's outfit. Like, Roboto did a great job with even just this panel in particular.
And the next page, well, they don't have Aja spine-boarded, so at least there's that.
Though also not really something an ambulance should really do. They should actually probably go with the spine board first, and then let the doctors decide whether it was needed or not.
Though I do like that she was taken out in a stretcher anyway, simply because, like, in all the times that I've seen the ambulance work, that is something that they... Look, it's like, this is standard procedure, we do this no matter what.
And Kimber's still freaking out.
And it's just like, Aja!
Kimber is not okay.
Kimber is never okay, let's face it.
Her hair is, like, reflecting her anxiety. It's getting bigger and bigger with every panel.
And then Rio, of course, asks the obvious question.
Where's Jim?
Jerrica thinking fast and not really thinking smartly.
It's like, oh, she's getting into a cab down the street. There we go.
Where the hell is she going? Asks Rio. Jerrica's like, I don't know, maybe trying to avoid the cameras?
And so Rio's like, I can't believe she would just abandon you guys. Which is valid.
Yeah, he's super right here. It's like Jerrica made a quick decision, but I'm not sure it was the most clever.
Because that just kind of further reinforces Rio's opinion that Jim is kind of a turd.
Because, I mean, let's face it, real person, total turd here. Oh my gosh, and I also just noticed the license plate on the taxi. Synergy. SYNRGY.
Synergy thinks she's funny.
It's a little joke. Rio also notices that Jerrica's got some scratches that were obviously from the accident in the first place, but she's like, I don't know, glass or something? She's really not good at lying right now.
And then we've got Blaze calling Clash. You know, Blaze knows Clash, and Blaze can probably sense that this is all Clash is doing.
Which begs the question, if Clash has already scampered off, and Blaze is asking, did you do this? What were they arguing about in the ballroom?
It could have been just like a where the hell have you been? You were supposed to be a caterer.
Next page, it has Pizzazz in her pajamas, and they're amazing.
They're like yellow and black skull onesie pajamas with like this pink skull hood.
I love it. Also, she has a cat.
Yeah, she's got like a Siamese cat.
I love Pizzazz's little Siamese cat.
I hope we get to learn its name.
I do too.
Also, in panel 1 is just this long shot of Pizzazz's room, and we see on her bedside she's got what look to be like D&D figurines. We've got like somebody with long hair or like a hood or something and a sword. We've got like a barbarian, and we've got like a wizard in robes.
Pizzazz is a secret nerd. Pizzazz checks her phone, which is pinging at her, and she looks at it and she screams, and her cat is like, nope, and runs. And the next panel is also her screaming with a newspaper.
I love Pizzazz's pajamas so much.
I love everybody's pajamas here.
I do too, they're all cute, but just Pizzazz's is my delight.
I guess the implication here is that the Misfits all live together, including Clash.
I actually just noticed Clash's slippers, they're little shark shapes.
I want those slippers.
I also gotta say, Pizzazz's bedhead, it's pretty great.
I also like how the cat peeks its head out like, is she done screaming, and then it shows up again.
Yeah, the cat is, like, consistent in this issue, and I couldn't be happier for, like, a minor character / prop.
The stuff that happened at the benefit last night has gotten into the newspaper and into the news feeds, which is why Pizzazz is freaking out, because the holograms are more famous than ever.
She's like, they're on the cover of the freaking newspaper! And she just, like, dramatically collapses.
Which is when the cat shows up again. It's like, oh, she's on the floor. This happens.
Stormer's like, my god, was anyone hurt? And Pizzazz just, like, wilting on the floor is like, they're all fine, basically. I mean, the best part is that, like, in the way that she summarizes this, and on the next page, like, she has obviously read this whole thing.
Like, several times. No, they're investigating it. Possibly foul play, blah, blah, blah. And the cat, meanwhile, is sitting marking her.
It's purring and washing in the next panel.
Yeah, as Pizzazz is making strangling motions with her hands, the cat is just sitting next to her and washing and purring.
After everybody else is talking, it's like, what? Why would you even care? She's like, she's got her hood up, she's holding the cat on her chest, like, wallowing in misery. Does Pizzazz ever take anything, like, below 11?
Pizzazz is turned up to 11 at all times.
I love her so much.
Pizzazz makes it super clear that, like, that she really would not want to know the person who actually did this and orchestrated this event. And Jen is like, yeah, I thought you'd be right pleased if something happened to those posers, and Pizzazz is just like moaning, not whoever does it is dumb enough to screw it up and also make them more famous in the process.
Still cuddling the cat to her chest.
So Clash is obviously gotta keep her frickin' mouth shut for a while.
And the next page is Acha's hospital bed, which I'm sorry, I'm a sucker for those scenes where one member of the squad is in a hospital, so they're all hanging out in the hospital room or sleeping on the bed. Especially when Kimber has a little speech bubble that says cute snoring in it.
Yeah, she's curled up on the foot of the bed. Everybody else is in chairs. Meanwhile, Rio appears with coffee, which is apparently his thing now.
He has an expert coffee delivery system.
And Aja is grateful for it.
I gotta say, I really like Rio and Aja bonding. I kind of wished it had happened more in, like, the original cartoon. So it's nice to see here.
Well, I mean, in the original cartoon, Aja would have a lot of reasons to hate Rio.
It's true. It's true.
But here, because Rio's not, completely useless and also the worst, Aja likes him. Aja actually does say they're so cute, and Rio's like, something about them reminds me of kittens.
Yeah, my gang of kittens. Aja was only kept for overnight observation, which means that we are about to get her out of the hospital. And in so doing, we actually come into a 2-page spread of a sort of a montage.
Yeah, it's sort of like a weeks/months past montage.
Because this will take us from the benefit concert all the way up to the Misfits versus concert. So we get to see what everybody does in the meantime. And I gotta say, you guys, like, each of these little panels are so cute. Like, everything on these 2 pages are just adorable.
They really are.
What I really like is that the first panel is, like, the holograms hanging out with Synergy. We get a feeling of them, like, Synergy actually being a person.
Oh my god, right? It's like everything I ever wanted. Synergy is actually, like, someone they're interested in. They're not just, like, standing in front of her frickin' keyboard computer.
And the other thing I just really like here is that not only do we see, it's mostly holograms, don't get me wrong, but not only do we see the holograms, we also see the Misfits hanging out together. And just kind of having fun together and doing their thing, too.
We have a ton of Kimber Stormer being the most adorable couple. We've got Pizzazz with her cat. I think my 2 favorite panels are the ones with Shayna doing some designing and then forcing Aja to reluctantly be her model.
Aja looks so grumpy. We've got Clash going through records. We've got Jim and Rio going to the movies and about to smooch. We've got Kimber being cute again.
While Aja's trying to repair a car.
Yeah, Kimber's just chattering away, and Aja's like, I need a tool, hand me a tool.
That she's obviously gesticulating with.
And then we've got Jetta and Roxy doing punching bag stuff.
Yeah, they're working out. They're doing boxing practice from the looks of it.
Yeah, we've got Blaze jogging right next to that, taking a break on a beach. It's just like, it's everybody being together, actually sort of progressing, having fun, and you can actually tell why they all get along with each other, you know?
It's not a format that you see mimicked a lot in comic books.
It's true, and it's also our only sort of guidelines as to how these panels should be read, because it's basically a 2x4 grid on each page. The only hint is that it goes all the way across is the music lines of the song that's going on. They're sort of drifting between panels trying to guide your eye, which works all right, but, I mean, the gutter means that you've got, so much more black space between the panels on opposite pages, so it can be a little jarring. I definitely wouldn't say that it's the best execution of this sort of thing, but you're absolutely right, Kit, in that, like, you just don't see this stuff used often, so...
And the next page is more of them hanging out with Synergy.
Electro Mom! Yay. Also, I kind of like, when Kimber's like, so what did you think, Synergy? Synergy goes, I love it, Kimber, your father will be very proud, and Kimber looks kind of awkward for a moment.
And Kimber in the cartoon is notable for being someone who is much, much, much more attached to her father versus her mother, whereas Jericho was the opposite. So their father's death definitely hit Kimber harder, though, of course, you don't deal with this until we actually have an episode about it, otherwise it's just like, Now, I got the impression, reading the dialogue in this page, guys, that this may be one of the first songs that Kimber has written.
I kind of got that impression, too.
Because I know the last song, and it seems like generally Jerica is the songwriter for the group before they sort of become famous. And I think what they were saying here is that this was maybe one of Kimber's first songs that she put together, even if she and Jerica co-wrote it. Because she seems really sort of nervous about it. I actually kind of really like that. I like the idea of Kimber growing as a songwriter over the course of this comic.
The next page is them wanting to get set up at the Battle of the Bands, which I guess is at some kind of fair? Or carnival or something?
Yeah, it seems like they've probably taken up, like, a state fairground, is what I'm guessing here.
And Kimber is starving, because she is a growing baby giraffe and needs her food.
I love the lettering on the third panel of Kimber's wine, because it is perfectly bolded. It says, "But Jerica, I'm dying."
Yeah, Kimber's whining and over dramatics is just one of my favorite things about this comic. It's always incredible. You can tell she's the baby of the group.
And she definitely acts it. So they head to the makeup trailer. And, oh my gosh. The people in the trailer, they are Ninjas of Loretto, JEM and the Holograms, and the Limp Lizards.
Limp Lizards!
Yes!
They're even in the foreground of the next panel of the crowded trailer.
They've got their little crocodile print onesies.
Oh, they totally do!
I love the Limp Lizards so much. And the Holograms decide that's not gonna work.
The gang splits up.
Kimber has decided that she has to go fill her baby giraffe belly.
And then we see the cutest picture of Stormer.
Oh my god, yeah. Kimber finds some pizza, and then she looks over, and even pizza is forgotten in the wake of her adorable girlfriend.
There's literal stars in Kimber's eyes, and like little sparklies hovering around Stormer.
They're completely validated because Stormer looks amazing. And you guys, okay, look, quick note. This was pointed out to me on Tumblr. I can't take credit for this. But, Kimber and Stormer are wearing matching earrings. Kimber is wearing lightning bolts, like Stormer's makeup. Stormer is wearing stars, like the Holograms motif.
Adorable!
This is just getting almost stupidly cute.
And there's a smooch.
Kimber basically, as far as I can tell, can't handle how cute her girlfriend is, and it's like, I have to smooch this, like, yesterday. So they've also got other carny stuff set up, including, like, one of those sort of, I don't know, shoot down the sharks things. It doesn't matter. Though I do notice the carny running the booth has a Cobra t-shirt from G.I. Joe.
And Aja is apparently normally quite good at shooting, but Shayna's nervous drumming on the counter is messing her up.
Yeah, it's a nice moment between Aja and Shayna, whom we haven't really seen too much together since, issue 3? Of just sort of how they're both dealing with nerves and stress of this whole event. Aja's doing it via destruction, Shayna's doing it via tapping, and Jerrica's, well, just being Jerrica.
Guys, we're having fun. We should get back to the trailer and work. And I do like the very end panel, where it's Aja like, hey, Rio, how did you even see him? Eyes in the back of my head.
Or there's a mirror.
One of those.
I like the idea of Aja and Rio being buddies. The best thing about the next page is that Aja has won an enormous Sunset Shimmer pony plush.
Also, a delight is in the corner of the second panel, we've got a mom shushing her yelling kid.
The yelling kid wanted the Sunset Shimmer pony.
There's so much work that's put into just making a couple of background characters distinct here in a way that really works.
And of course, Aja can't see a thing because she's carrying around this enormous pony thing.
And so she runs into the most adorable punk boy ever.
Who, you guys, Mac, do you know who this is?
No, who is it?
This is Craig Phillips.
Oh my god, this is Craig! Oh my god!
I know. They said that, I believe it was Sophie, said that Craig would be in issue 5.
Oh my gosh, she's so cute!
Have I seen Craig Phillips yet?
You've not seen Craig. Craig is also part of the two-parter at the beginning of season 2, where they're looking for a new drummer. Craig is a drummer. Craig Phillips is also the brother of Mary Phillips.
Okay, Stormer.
Oh dear.
The best part is that, like, Craig's design in the cartoon is, like, blue hair, kind of like 80s mullet, and bright purple polo shirt, which I swear to God they took the exact color of the polo shirt and put it on this punk Craig's outfit.
Oh god, I'm looking at a picture of him now.
Is he not amazing?
What the hell am I looking at?
He's like the only love interest that Aja gets in the entire cartoon.
It looks like Comic Craig took Cartoon Craig's shirt, ripped the collar and the sleeves off, and that's what he's wearing now.
Comic Craig is adorable, though.
It's also worth noting that at the top of the page, before they ran into Craig, they actually, like, sat there and talked about, like, so this whole, like, not telling Rio thing, what the heck do we do with that? So, Craig is going to buy Aja a funnel cake as big as her head. Meanwhile, Rio and Jerrica are on the Ferris wheel again, which is now, as they say, their thing.
It is adorable. Which is adorable of us, as Rio points out.
And then they end up talking about JEM.
Which causes their first couple fight.
Because Rio rightly points out that, for all intents and purposes, it seems like Jem is a weirdo flake.
And she just leaves them with all the work and just does the singing and the glamorous part. And of course, Jerica, being Jim, gets insulted.
And again, she's not even thinking. Like, she is not used to this whole dual identity thing at all. Rio, though, to his credit, immediately, like, sees that she's really mad, and it's like, well, this wasn't worth it. I'm sorry. I'm not sure what I did, but I'm sorry. I didn't mean to, like, insult you and stress you out.
Which really, I'm not used to Rio not being a turd.
Think of what cartoon Rio would do in this situation.
Well, Jerica was mean to me, so I guess I'm only in love with Jem for now.
Foo you women! They don't understand what I say and don't listen to me.
Yeah, he would get mad, try to storm off, then realize he's on a Ferris wheel and can't go anywhere, and just kind of cross his arms and sulk.
Oh, I can see it! I can see it so perfectly!
I can too!
So, Jerica returns alone to the holograms who have all gathered together. Aja offers to beat the crap out of Rio, because they obviously had some kind of fight.
Aja knows where her loyalties are.
And then we know the Misfits show up. And they look great. And also Jetta's shoving somebody.
Jetta's shoving somebody. Pizzazz is just being Pizzazz. Roxy is eating, and Stormer is still being the cutest patoot.
And they all look awesome.
They're just marching down in single file. I mean, it's like you expect somebody to start talking about that's why her hair is so big, it's full of secrets.
Well, in Roxy's case, that might be true. I mean, look at it. Roxy's hair is full of secrets.
Evil takes a human form in Phyllis Gabor. One time, Jetta punched me in the face. It was awesome.
And of course, the hologram's faces in the next panel are just like these little dot eyes. They're terrified. They don't like, oh, what do we do? Do we introduce ourselves? What do we do?
Hello, Ms. Gabor. I'm Jerica Benton, manager of the Holograms. It's a real honor to meet you. And Pizzazz just looks completely non-interested.
There's this great panel where we've got, like, Pizzazz versus Jerica, and Jerica is tiny, and Pizzazz's hair doesn't even fit on the panel. And Jerica's got her hand out, and Pizzazz just has her arms at her sides, and she's just glaring and not saying anything.
Yeah, and Jerica just babbles. And the first thing out of Pizzazz's mouth on the next page, you're not Jem.
Yeah, Pizzazz is like, I don't want to see you, I want my nemesis.
Right? It's like she's so ready to have a nemesis.
And Jetta's just disgusted look, and her arms folded.
Oh my god, and Roxy's like, narrow-eyed glare.
And then Clash shows up again. Hi, Clash.
With coffee! She showed up 15 minutes late with Starbucks.
And Kimber's about to notice her.
Yep, Kimber recognizes that Clash was at the Starlight Benefit and had a bag full of tools.
She puts all the pieces together, and rightly recognizes that Clash was responsible for the accident. Clash almost killed her sister, and at least really badly hurt her other sister.
And so Kimber then gets mad at Stormer.
Oh, and it's like, you can see it. It's like, no, not the perfect cuddle buns.
No, my babies!
No babies, don't have a comedy of errors.
Nachos, pizzas, and donuts.
Yeah, there's a food thing nearby that has a little bit of everything worth throwing.
Like, I'm pretty sure that's why they set up that specific thing. But Kimber picks up and throws an actual literal pie.
And completely off, well, not completely off the topic, but I really love the foreshortening in the panel where Kimber is picking up the pie, just because we've got Kimber's arm going back, and it's, of course, getting smaller, and then we've got Pizzazz's, like, shoving in front of Stormer to, like, separate her from Kimber, and her arm just gets bigger, and the foreshortening is really great, and I love it.
So, Kimber throws the pie.
It hits Pizzazz, and Pizzazz looks like a monster.
Pizzazz is covered in purple. Her eyes are red.
She literally looks like a monster out of, like, some 80s film, like...
She looks like Ivan Ooze from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie.
And then, of course, we've got all the Misfits and Clash behind her. We have Clash with a heart breaking over her because she realizes Pizzazz is going to be really mad at her after this is all done. We've got Stormer looking terrified. We've got Jetta looking, nonplussed, really. And then we've got Roxy covering her face like, oh crap.
Oh, she's cowering.
Pizzazz is going to be so mad, and everybody knows it.
So at this point, Kimber has found another pie. I'm not going to immediately assume how. I know there's a food everything thing behind her, but I at this point I'm not ruling out Kimber having the ability to just create pies.
Hi everybody, sorry to interrupt the show, but I'm afraid the last 2 pages of this comic, as well as the letters column, are cursed. That's the only explanation for why we re-recorded this segment of the episode 3 times, and every single time, the audio has come out garbled or missing or otherwise unusable. Here's what you need to know. Everyone starts storing food, and it turns into a full-blown food fight, and the last panel is basically an X-Men cover, only instead of mutants about to have an epic battle, it's glam rockers chucking food at each other. It's pretty great. As always, we encourage you to buy and read this comic, even if the last few pages of this particular issue were apparently printed in unicorn blood or something. And now back to the episode.
So that about wraps it up for us. Join us next month for Showtime Part 6 during our comic reviews. You can also catch us every Sunday with our cartoon reviews. We are a Patreon-supported podcast. You can find us on patreon.com/thejemjam. Because of our generous Patreon supporters and viewers like you, you can now find us on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, YouTube, of course. So, follow us, listen to us wherever you like, and give us some feedback, like, subscribe, etc., etc. It'll be great to hear from you guys. Tell us what you think or how the episode went for you. Until next time, I'm Annie.
I'm Kit.
And I'm Mac.
And this has been the Gem Jam, where we remind you, early to rise, early to bed, makes a man healthy, outrageous, and socially dead.